obviously they lost more weight. But in actuality, in the study, they didn't. This group lost the most weight. And the difference was this. I'm going to fill in the blank for you. The difference was these 2,200 calories consisted of a low carbohydrate diet. This diet, 1,200 calories, consisted of a high carbohydrate diet. So what this diet does, even though it's less calories, it drove insulin secretion and deposited those nutrients into the adipose tissue. So they lost the most weight. Okay? So what this shows you is it's not the number of calories, it's the kind of calorie you eat. Okay? Here's another study. They told a group of subjects, eat as many calories, here's what they told them, eat as many calories as you want. Okay, how's that for a diet? Huh? You want to be in this group, right? And I'll leave a little blank here. And the other group, they said, you can only have 1,000 calories per day. Now, obviously, you know the answer here, right? Who lost more weight? If you're thinking under the misconception, you say that group. But the results actually turned out these guys lost the most weight. And now I'll fill in the blank. Why? Because low carb here, and this was high carb. Anytime, even with low calories, anytime you put in a high carbohydrate into that diet plan, you are going to stimulate insulin release, drive the insulin up, and deposit those nutrients into the fat tissue or adipose tissue, and you will gain weight. These guys are eating as many calories as they want, but they were told low carbs. So, remember I told earlier, I said, when I'm speaking to you, you're going to have a little remembrance of the Atkins diet. Well, here's where that kind of comes in, right? Now, my diet plan isn't a strict Atkins thing at all, and I'll tell you about some differences. But this is what Atkins found out. He had men eating his patients eating as much meat as they wanted. You could eat as much pork chops, ribs, steak, filet, lamb, veal, fish, anything you wanted. Almost as many calories as you wanted. But as long as it was low carb, you would lose weight. So, what's happening in here is that these guys get high insulin, and these guys are keeping their low insulin levels. So, one of the major things now in a change in your mindset or in your thinking is that you have to start thinking that you are overweight or gaining weight because your adipose tissue is growing. And you have to change from the misconception that you are overweight because you're eating too many calories or you're not exercising enough. That's a big change. It's hard just hearing it the first time. If you're hearing it for the first time, it's hard to get your mind around that because you've been pounded all the time that you got to join the health club, you got to exercise, and you got to cut your calories. That's not true. Exercise is a terrible way to lose weight. There's a chapter in the book, I don't know if any of you read it yet, about exercise or sleep. You know you can lose as much weight sleeping for 40 hours as you can exercising for 5 hours as strenuously as you can. 5 hours of strenuous exercise, and I'm not just talking this kind of exercise, very strenuous 5 hours, you can only lose 1/5 of a pound. And in that strenuous exercise that you're doing for 5 hours, okay, that week, or a day or whatever, if you happen to be drinking Gatorade, anyone ever look at how many carbohydrates are in Gatorade? Huge. If if you drank 2 Gatorades while you were working out, you actually are going to gain weight, okay? Whereas if you go to sleep and you sleep 8 hours a day for 5 days, you will lose 1/5 of a pound on my diet plan just by sleeping. The reason? Because if you stay on my diet plan, you cannot eat any carbs for 8 weeks after 6 p.m. So that if you do not eat any carbs after 6 p.m., you will go to sleep with your insulin levels low. When you're sleeping, your body has to metabolize, all right? It's still going, it's working, even though you're sleeping, all right? Your body will only get, if there's low insulin, the only place it can get calories is your fat tissue. If you go to sleep with your insulin levels low, then while you sleep, your body will metabolize fat. And just your basal metabolic rate will burn 1/5 of a calorie, 1/5 of a pound in 40 hours of sleep. Okay? So exercise is a terrible way to lose weight. In fact, what I have found is that when I exercise, I actually gain weight. Now I get stronger, I can run faster, I can do a lot of things. But weight loss, no. It's a bad way to lose weight. And I even mentioned in my book, initially, don't get so concerned about exercise, okay? Get concerned about the number of carbohydrates you're eating. Okay, now, I'll go through let me go through a couple more things, and then I'll open it up for questions. So let me draw a circle here. This is your adipose tissue. Okay, wherever it is on your body, your thighs, your butt, your waistline. And inside this adipose tissue is fat. Okay. Now when you eat, you only have 3 nutrients you can eat: fat, protein, and carbs. All right, that's it. Okay. So now you get hungry, so you're going to have a meal. And let's say your meal is high carbs, and then you have some fat in there and some protein. So you just eat this meal. Now what happens to that when it goes down your throat, your esophagus, into your stomach? Well, when it gets into your gut, gets digested, some of that goes to be metabolized right away. Okay? You're hungry, your body needs calories, it needs energy. Some of it goes right away to be metabolized. Okay? The rest of it, if it's a high carb meal, you are going to spike your insulin, and the rest of it goes into fat, goes into your adipose tissue, and is stored as fat. You use a little bit of it, and the percentages are about 30%, 70%. Now, here's the rest of your body. This is all your muscle, your brain, and other tissues. Okay? So, your muscle needs energy, your brain needs energy, your liver, all these other organs, you need energy. You got a little bit here, but 70% of the nutrients you just ate got stored as fat. So they will not come out of your of your adipose tissue if your insulin levels are high. They just won't come out. So what does the rest of your body experience if your insulin levels are high? Okay? It experiences, I'm not getting enough nutrients. So basically, the rest of your body says, I'm starving. When you're starving, what happens? You get hungry, and you eat a lot, and you become sedentary. So you're hungry, you start eating a lot, and what do? You eat another high-carb meal. Remember I told you that what you observe a person gaining weight doing, eating a lot and being